All right, let's jump right in. It really feels like we're standing at this incredible crossroads in America right now. You've got this explosion of artificial intelligence on one hand, and this huge push to bring industry back home on the other. And the one thing they both need? A ton of power. But there's a problem, a huge one. The future is stuck in a massive trillion-dollar traffic jam.
And look, that's not just me saying it. Take this quote from Senator McCormick. He calls what we're living through the Industrial Revolution, but on steroids. And honestly, he's not wrong. The speed of this change is just incredible. And the stakes, well, they couldn't be higher for our economy, our security, everything.
So what's the price tag on this traffic jam? Just look at that number. $2.4 trillion. And that's not the cost of the projects themselves. No, that's the estimated economic activity we're losing out on just because we're stuck. Over $1.5 trillion in projects are just sitting there, waiting in line. That is the cost of doing nothing.
So you gotta ask, why is this happening right now? Well, it all comes down to this absolutely insane, almost overnight thirst for electricity. And I'm not talking about a gradual, slow ramp up. No, this is a rocket ship of demand fueled by two massive trends hitting all at once. So, engine number one, the AI revolution. I mean, the data centers needed to run these things are unbelievably power hungry. Then, at the exact same time, engine number two kicks in. This big push to bring manufacturing back to the US. Factories, heavy industry, stuff that needs a lot of juice. It really is the perfect storm of energy demand.
And get this quote, it isn't from some power company CEO. It's from Google, the people literally building our AI future. They're basically shouting from the rooftops that all this amazing progress, all this economic potential, it all grinds to a halt if we don't have the energy to run it. The tech world is tied directly to the power grid.
So let's recap. We have the demand, check. We have the money, check. We even have the technology, check. So what is the problem? Why can't we just build? It's simple, and it's incredibly frustrating. We've hit a wall, a great American bottleneck, and it's stopping progress cold. Just look at these numbers. They're kind of insane. It takes 4 to 5 years, on average, just to get the paperwork done. And here's the kicker. If you want to connect a new power plant to the grid, you wait 5 years just for them to study your request, not build it, to think about it. And a big new transmission line, we're talking 10, maybe 15 years. You simply can't win the race for the future at that speed. No way.
And what's crazy is that everyone is saying this. Take the clean energy industry. Their CEO is basically pleading for a system that's fast, predictable, and fair. And you can see why. A whopping 90% of the projects stuck in that massive line, they're clean energy projects.
And who's right there with them? Google again. The people driving all this new demand. They're saying the exact same thing. This bottleneck isn't just an energy problem, it's an AI problem. It's holding them back from building the future too. It's the same roadblock affecting everybody. And this, right here, might be the most important side. You've got clean power, you've got big tech, and now a traditional energy giant like ExxonMobil, all pointing their fingers at the exact same obstacle. When you have groups that usually don't agree on much, all saying this is the problem, you know it's real. This isn't about politics anymore. It's about a fundamentally broken system. So that's the big question, right? If everyone agrees the system is broken, why don't we just fix it? Well, it turns out that behind the logistical problem, there's a much deeper, more fundamental fight, a battle raging in boardrooms across America over what a corporation's job is even supposed to be.
On one side of this fight, you have the call for corporate neutrality. The argument from folks like Robert Netzley is pretty straightforward. Companies should just be companies. Make great products, turn a profit for your shareholders, and stay out of divisive political issues. Avoid the drama and just focus on the bottom line.
But then there's the other side, and they say, whoa, not so fast. People like Senator Sheldon Whitehouse argue that ignoring huge external risks, like climate change, isn't being neutral. It's just being blind. He paints this really scary picture of a domino effect. First, insurance markets collapse. Then you can't get a mortgage. Then property values crater. And before you know it, the whole economy is in a nosedive. So what you end up with are two totally opposing worldviews.
On one hand, the neutrality principle says, stay in your lane, focus on profit. On the other, the systemic risk principle says, the outside world matters, and if you ignore it, it's going to cost you big time. And this isn't some academic debate. This is a fundamental split in how we see the purpose of a corporation in America.
And guess where this exact same ideological battle is playing out? Yep, Washington, D.C. It's paralyzing any action on the very permitting reforms that everyone says they want. This has gone from just being an economic issue to a national security imperative. And yet, the gridlock continues. And look, this isn't a new fight. They've been trying for years. We've seen multiple Congresses try and fail to get a real reform package passed. And every single time, they run into the same brick wall. They get bogged down in a lack of trust and these fundamental disagreements about what to build and how to build it.
So, okay, politics seems to be stuck in a doom loop. But technology? Technology doesn't wait for politicians. And this is where things get really interesting. There's a new way of thinking about how we build things that might just offer a way to bypass the gridlock entirely.
Investor and engineer Milo Werner calls it modular manufacturing, and the idea is pretty brilliant. Let's stop thinking in terms of these gigantic, one-of-a-kind mega factories. Instead, what if we built smaller, standardized, efficient systems? Think of them like industrial Legos. They're cheaper to start, you can put them where you need them, and just add more as you grow. And here's the really cool part. This new approach is just better. It's way more efficient. Instead of relying on old-school combustion, which wastes about half its energy, these new electrified processes are around 95% efficient. It's a huge leap. It's not just about building differently, it's about building smarter. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, imagine a set of modular generators that could power a single supermarket, or be scaled up to power a whole city. Picture factories that start small and just expand as they need to without some massive upfront investment. It's a future where we make things where we need them, creating a much more resilient country. Which brings us to our final and maybe most important question. We're caught in this tug of war. On one side, we have this old, paralyzed way of fighting over ideology. On the other, a new, dynamic way of building based on technology. The real trillion-dollar question is, can we innovate our way out of this jam? Can a new way of building overcome our old way of fighting?